sit like there or here, just so I can see. Yeah. We are officially recording. We'll go ahead and start the meeting. So thank you all for being here. Thank you, Linda and Bob, for being on Zoom. I think she's muted. We can actually unmute her for this, so she can actually interact with us. I think otherwise we would mute everyone if there was multiple people. But yeah, for tonight, Linda, you can pull up your video too if you want or not, but just let us know if you can hear us still.
You're good. I can hear you good.
Cool. All right, so I'll go ahead and do committee member roll call. As of right now, we have myself, Lorraine, Danielle, Carrie, Brian, and Linda. And Courtney's here with us to help sort of moderate and work out the kinks with Zoom and all the topics that we're going to be covering tonight. So this is still brand new, this kind of integrating Zoom into these meetings. Tonight is going to be the first time we're going to screen share. So Linda, you'll be able to see what we're looking at, hopefully. So you'll have to just confirm that you see everything. We're going to pull up images of playground units. If anyone wants to see anything from the gym stuff, we can pull that up as well. But I think as of right now, that's pretty much set in stone. So we'll go ahead and jump into it. First one is gym enhancement. So final vendor recommendation was placed. The board knows that we're still holding on FITNESSMITH as being the appropriate vendor for our community based on their proposal, based on even the layout, but also they offer quarterly services, which Carrie helped us acquire too. So all of that is in line with the numbers that were presented to us. We're waiting to confirm if those still hold or if they've changed, which we're going to find out hopefully at the next board meeting, which is on the 24th. And we'll be prepared to sort of follow up from the last meeting where Brian and I were able to present why we recommended, who we recommended, and what was involved in that. And hopefully by that point, everyone is on the same page and we can go ahead and greenlight gym enhancement as a final upgrade for our community. So the additional upgrades bullet point here is, even though we did the spreadsheet, we worked out all those numbers, I even included, you know, the expansion, I included painting, blinds, and all that stuff. There's always potential to do something else in there, whether it's like adding in another like wipe station, you know. As of right now, there's a little condensation thing, so hopefully, is that what we've confirmed it is? Yeah. Okay, so the vents are producing condensation, which is staining the roof. You know, so if there's other little extra touch-ups, probably good to buffer in a little extra on top of what we presented. But we had the room still, even when we were all said and done, there was still some room to include other things. So anyone at any point thinks of anything else we should include? I think you had brought up the idea of carpeting, right?
It's seen online at a gym that they show you that those people that they did like a really fancy looking rug in there.
Like a short, like
very short. It's commercial. It's
right.
Commercial style. It probably cleans easy. Probably doesn't get stained. I don't know anything about that. What's your opinion?
A few gyms actually went into that I was saying before that actually had the carpet in there. I mean, again, we definitely about maintenance also. Maybe this week and bring it back.
All right, and we're probably gonna have to have it deep cleaned at least once or twice a year. Just to keep it not smelling and keep it looking as good as it comes. But
I think that, I mean, I think the carpet looks nice. It bumps it up a little bit. The other type of gym flooring, quality flooring is a lot easier to take care of. You know, if anything spilled or whatever, it's easier to clean it up. It's a matter of preference, honestly.
And I was thinking too, because it's, even though we're expanding potentially, it's not a huge space. So carpeting, I don't know, carpet functions in smaller spaces versus kind of having like those little puzzle piece gym floors.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah.
I do think it's a good idea.
The picture you shared, like I can see it, like that's it does.
such a cool Just the look of the rock.
Yeah, and I think we can enhance the vibe with other ways, like kind of having, the accent wall, right? And getting some signage in there, even some imagery, whatever it might be, but just to really create the environment we want beyond just the equipment, so. Those are the kinds of things that I think as we start to get closer and we can actually start upgrading, we can have that bigger conversation, but right now it's a priority, like
Right.
foundational stuff that needs to be taken care of.
Once if we get green, then that's when the fun starts.
Right.
With that.
So-
No, go ahead. No, I was just gonna say, I mean, if we get greenlit, then all those small little details are gonna work themselves out, we'll be able to like. Do that, cause I mean, we'll have a range of kind of what they're expecting, as long as we're not going too far, away from that, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah.
When it comes to the smaller items.
Right.
So did we get a natural actually budgeted?
No, so the number we were working off of was the initial reserve number that was provided by the company who's doing a reserve study. The board, because they were still looking at all these other assets and liabilities. They saw the numbers needing to shift and things like that, just to work out the final details, because it's. There's a lot more involved, and Brian can probably speak on this better than I can.
Yeah, and with now, going too far into it. The initial estimate that the vendor had done was around 47,000. Which I think that just kind of reaffirmed our research that we've been kind of doing all along, that it was very close to that. But, for more equipment, so we actually were doing better because we were getting more equipment than what was in there currently, because we've been factoring in this expansion.
I think it was actually more 39,000
Yeah,
from FITNESSMITH,
Yeah.
that was the equipment. It was,
Yeah.
everything was all in, like.
it was in the 30s, yeah, like taxes, shipping, yeah. It was under 40, it was definitely under 40, but we were just buffering in extra things if we're obviously expanding. So I think that initial upfront cost would be worth it, but the big thing is there's a lot of other elements that are at play within the community. And one of them is the biggest point that we've been trying to figure out is the road system, because that is the biggest, well, the roads, irrigation system, there's a few items that are like huge ticket items. So we're just trying to get some more clarity on that.
I would think that it was allocated for the gym is specifically for that, just like you have different buckets for other things that are for the community.
So there is, I think one thing, just to talk about the board meeting for anybody who wasn't there was some pushback when it comes to expanding. Some people are against that, which, I don't, you never expect, unanimous opinion on anything when it comes to
Especially
this.
when some of them are complimentary.
Yeah, I mean, but I think the main thing, and by the way, I'm on a finance committee meeting, so I'm hearing all the other opposite side of everything as well. But I think we just have to narrow in that when we start looking at the average home value in this community, and then you start comparing it to comparable communities around our area, we are significantly behind when it comes to our gym and our appearance, and yeah, many of our amenities just not working. So I think that is the main thing that we need to stay focused on. And these things were, maybe they weren't budgeted for properly in the past, but that doesn't mean that we can really neglect them, in my opinion. The other thing that was brought up was, well, how can we do the gym, when the playground hasn't been addressed? Well, they probably had no, people may have not known, right, that we've been doing all this work, so kind of smile a little bit, and we had some numbers, to kind of throw out there. So, all I can say is that our committee is doing a lot of valuable work for the community. And I feel like we're close. There's no guarantee, but I am optimistic. And some people were saying, well, why don't we have to fix the playground first? Like, okay, well, Danny and I were like, all right, let's just fine tune what's going on with the playground. We already had a lot of things going on, but we're excited to share some of those things again tonight.
Yeah.
Because we need to be narrowed in on that and you know, there's a lot of things that require attention and money, but. Again, it's not a good look for our community, yeah, things that are down for like 2 years or, you know, the gym's kind of thing.
Especially if it has been paying attention to.
Right, yeah, so it's just, we're trying to kind of get caught up, kind of course correct for maybe some, I don't wanna say mistakes, but maybe just. Not proper planning, I guess, and, you know, but we're running into that when these things also need attention, so it's gonna be met with some resistance, but again, I think we just have to say, if you come in to shop into this community. And you have looked at Canopy Creek or you've looked at any of these other communities, and you can see most of them have a nice functioning playground. And a larger gym with nicer equipment. So, you know, if we don't take care of our assets, then it's not a good look for us. Yeah.
That's a good.
Hey,
segue.
Brian.
But yeah, Linda,
Ah, yes.
Hey, so what is the timeline or kind of the next step, I guess, with the board in terms of those two project pieces in the reserves decision?
Yeah, so we have the budget meeting coming up, the board budget meeting, that's end of this month.
the 24th.
Yeah, so the 24th. There are some people that, you know, I've been fighting just behind closed doors, you know, for some budget on the gym. There are some people that kind of want to back it down, which I think is okay, but not for this round. You know, I think this round is gonna require some more capital in the front end. I think if we take care of it, and are budgeting for it properly, we may not need as much of an influx as frequently. But I mean, I don't think this gym has been addressed at all, but sorry, to get back on topic, 24th of this month. Danny and I, you know, I'll be back, so Danny and I, and we want everybody here, and that's been working on it, to be here to support. But that's when we're gonna really go through and say, okay, we really do think we should push through with this gym expansion. And really build it out, because the gym is very tight. And yes, we can fit more equipment in it in its current state, but we're gonna get a lot more value by getting that extra square footage. And then two, you know, let's talk about the vision of the playground, let's get the playground fixed, and let's get that fixed, we can have. And if we get greenlit, we can have, if they greenlit it for this year, we can have all of this done realistically before the end of the year.
Yeah, I agree.
That would be awesome. I don't think, and if it comes to, well, let's wait till next year, I really don't think it makes that much of a difference. We're not talking about, you know, $500,000, you know, by waiting 6 months, it really doesn't matter. You know?
Does that answer the question, Linda?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Okay, awesome. So let's go ahead and dive into the new playground. This is where we're gonna get to kind of see some visuals that if you've had a chance to go in the shared drive, then you can kind of browse around and see what's, I've been kind of updating the folders, but I recently reorganized so that everything we have from all the vendors who participated in getting us proposals on a plan A and a plan B are now in a plan A, plan B folder. So just to clarify for anyone watching this recording, or here, plan A is the bigger initial vision that we had. That's moving the location of our playground over to where the tennis courts are and expanding by utilizing that area, so getting a much bigger, more accommodating play set, and even including some like independent features. So we provided all the vendors with a generic list of wants and needs based on kind of what we saw here, other areas that we believe would be really successful and utilized and enjoyed by children. And so of the vendors who have participated up to this point, we're going to start with Miracle Recreation. And so just before we do that, so no, it's fine, you can have it up, but for plan A, it's over there in that area, and we can kind of frame it out, and it would be utilized in a way that like starts to build on what would be a long-term rec area. Plan B is a one-for-one replacement, because the space here wouldn't really change, but we would get something that is new, usable, vibrant, and I mean, it would be a functioning asset, and we would replace the sand with playground mulch. And that would be it.
And we did do some work, and I did have done some research. I'm pretty set on this playground mulch versus using rubber mulch or any other material. The more I've looked into rubber mulch, the more of I just don't, I wanna stay far away from it, just extra costs. Landscapers blowing away easily, and yeah, so it's just not worth, and it's significantly more expensive. So since we already have the vendors in place, as far as the base material, because that was a big question, we went through that a lot, we do turf, we do this. But yeah, definitely not sand, but yeah, so the mulch isn't too expensive. We would have to top it off, it would require some maintenance, so the long-term cost of it is the best way to go.
Yeah, the initials fill in, so I reached out to our chosen vendor for common area mulch. And I gave them the sizes of the two areas, and I have that in here as well, but we don't need to pull that up. But basically, plan A to go outside with mulch was, that would be in big areas, 7,800. That is,
I mean, does it say how many tons on the,
it was 400, I believe, 421 square yards.
okay,
And then you had to have like 6 inches.
yeah,
So that was over in that area. And then plan B, if we did it here, would be 3,300. Now that's not removing the sand, we would have to do that with our own vendors. But to fill out the mulch, this is, I think it's called Enhanced fiber, mulch or something like that.
What's the cost to
Replace what?
the plan B?
So we're gonna see a couple of different
Yeah.
proposals.
and,
Alright.
and before getting to this, just be quiet, but we've spoken to many vendors, and the price range has been all over the place, you know, so, and I feel pretty good about what we kind of narrowed it down to, but just before we get going, because some of these look awesome.
Yeah. So what I wanna do is I wanna go through and look at all the mock-ups. And then after that, because we'll get a feel for which ones I think we stand out, we can go look at the numbers, because I think the numbers are then gonna sort of direct us a little differently. So Courtney, if you wanna pull up the first one there, this is Plan A from Miracle Recreation. Now, are we
This one?
screen sharing?
Yeah,
Cool.
Linda.
So Linda, do you see this?
I can.
So this is their sort of bird's eye view layout of the whole area that would be involved. So you can see the sort of cloud shaped one is the actual complete unit. And then over to the right would be like kind of the double, what do they call it? It's a two
Swing?
Two bay.
double bay swing set. So it would actually be 2 toddler swings, the bucket seats, and then 2 sort of like arc swings. And then they have kind of like a little independent climber, which you'll see in the pictures. Of course, if we can go to the 3D rendering, yeah, can we zoom in a little bit? There we go.
This was the original, yeah.
Yes.
Well, this was when you sent us that image, Egret Landing. We basically just told them, said, hey, do the same thing for us, and let's see what it looks like,
Yes.
right? In every in every way, including cost.
So you can see they included the oak tree,
Yeah.
which I like. And so they threw in a bench. I think there's even a trash can there, and this is what we saw as a beautiful setup over at Egret Landing. It's really incredible. I mean, ideally, this would be perfect. If we could just sign that check and move on, then this would be great. But as you'll see when we get to the spreadsheet, this is well beyond our budget as of right now. But it's a worthy image to kind of shoot for in the future, because I mean, if you can imagine seeing that.
And I can imagine to finally see all the neighbors outside hanging out together and having a place to congregate. We don't have that now.
Right.
We don't see anyone outside.
Yes.
That's the long-term vision for that space. That's why we really want to at least, even if we can't do everything that we want to do, we at least want to get a functioning playground in that area.
Right.
So we can build upon that
In
area.
that area.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. If we
Does
just
it all
get
have to be
one
done
piece,
No,
I mean, can you do like up to eat a little bit at a time?
Yeah. That one unit though, that is a massive unit that can support, I forget how many kids. I think
It's like
it's-
40, 50, right?
And I think it was close, that specific one, I think they do 70.
It's not a terrible idea to start with just one of the big pieces.
Yeah,
And just build from there, at least that sets in
But-
stone that.
but that particular one is very expensive.
But isn't that two? Isn't it green one and then?
No, it's one complete sort of bridged set.
You see it.
It's all one set, yeah. It's all priced as one big set.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you have the independent little climber there, you know, that's a line item, you've got the swings, that's a line item, the shade line item, so. We'll get to that, but I just wanna show this.
It looks awesome.
Yeah, can we see now their plan B?
Mhm.
So remember, plan B is gonna be a 1-for-1, so what they've done is they've sized it out according to the dimensions. of it.
Which option? Two
there's- So he gave us 2, so you can do our option 2 first.
Do you want the big plan again
Now,
first?
you can just do the, just the image. They had a little glitch in their modeling for this, but that is, if you can zoom in a little bit, you'll see it's. Yeah, so,
After seeing the big slides.
I know, and I think this is gonna help our case a little bit when we present, cause that's. If you're saying that's all we can get, then, okay, we'll have to go with the options that we have there, and just see that they don't really compare.
Right. This equipment, and we have had some people saying, well, why don't we get just a nice set from. Costco or
Right.
whatever, and you can get something for $5,000, but the problem is they don't really anchor into the ground. Yeah, right, so,
What's something that's gonna last for a while.
Correct.
And actually gonna draw the children and the family.
yeah, so
out.
just preparing you all, you know, because people will ask us.
You don't think you guys, we can't go ask them one more time and see if they can separate that big giant thing? So we can have two separate, so we can start with one.
They could, the way that they
Just
work
wanna
is,
be honest about that.
Okay.
yeah,
I would love to start it, with so cool, so we know that we have to continue, so next year we'll add a whole other piece.
right, Brian had kind of posted this idea initially was that. Well, let's say we start with the small 2 to 5 toddler set, but we move it out there and we expand off of that, so. If we only really go to the small unit, but we start to make our move in the right direction. That becomes the first step in on that path.
Because what happens is, and granted, we'd like to do it, I'm always the fan to do it. We don't, maybe we don't need the exact same program, it's either like, it's 180,000, whatever it is.
Yeah,
But, we could get a really solid foundation with multiple components for $70,000, $75,000. And a much bigger, that can incorporate multiple age groups. If we can't go that way, let's say we have to just start with one unit and build from there. We just need to set it in the right place, and then if they ever want that company to come back out, they can just add more containment borders, add more mulch, and then add more components. So, we have that flexibility out there, we do not have.
that's
What's
what.
heading the board back from the big.
So
What is their?
I think it's just, I think,
sorry, I missed the question.
I said, what is holding the board back from doing?
Finances.
I think it's uncertainty and lack of clarity around the numbers, the budget. I mean, it's hard to say,
You have a
yes.
budget and we say, okay, and then you're presenting all of this. A, B, and C.
Yeah.
To me,
Well, I think the issue that we've run into is we just don't have the money allocated, it hasn't been funded in advance for all of these line items. And I think we're gonna see that on the budget meeting, that course correcting, it's
Yeah, we were
something
working on the
that
projection.
will be a community, have community involvement, if course correct. It's a plan.
So Brian, are you saying that coming out of that budget meeting, then you would expect the clarity or at least maybe more of a nailed down numbers from that reserve that gives the board more confidence to say, okay, we see that we should spend X amount on the playground or X amount on the Jim, like, do you think that that's what's coming in terms of that budget meeting or?
I do, and I think it's just, I think a huge factor of it is the work that we've done, because we actually know what this costs now. And I think that the saddest thing would be for us to do this work, knowing that you have people in the community that care about this, and we know that things need to be replaced. If we don't take action, I think that would be very disappointing.
Yeah,
We'll see, but I do think that we will know once especially once the budget is finalized, for sure. But I think we'll have much greater clarity after this thing.
Yeah, and the 24th is the first of a couple of meetings. The
Okay.
24th is gonna focus on the reserve part of it, which is of interest to us because we're in the tail end of finalizing that reserve study now, because as you mentioned, there are some other factors at play, like the roads are the biggest one, and that's what's kind of outstanding right now, because that's a big ticket number that we have to factor in that 30-year plan. So that would be the focus of the 24th. Then we have 2 even opportunities for budget presentations in October, before we push back the finalization to November. So we do have the flexibility to put in extra meetings if we need to make sure we can finalize some things.
I think it'd be awesome to start the meeting, at least one of these projects.
Especially the gym, like your body after. the
Yeah.
year, and then
We
it's
talked
like-
about
I'm still trying to figure what is the timeline here, I mean, I realize that we need to get their approval, but what is the timeline here, when we have to do this stuff?
I would say that it's probably better to go and do something in there because we're getting complaints that there's one treadmill that's working all the time. So and I understand that this is there's a playground that is free. You don't have to get a gym membership to go to that playground. Here, we have a partial functioning gym. So I would say that we need to get the replaced equipment in there immediately. And I can't see this not happening because even the small one should be greenlit. Like if that's all we can do, then something will
I
happen.
hate to say it, because, when I was talking with FITNESSMITH, they were saying, he didn't give me a date, but he did say that he.
The proposals.
For that long, and I don't.
Well, and that-
who's our-
Yeah, we don't wanna frustrate the vendors that we're trying to build
Exactly.
relationships with and work with.
That's great, and I wouldn't mind throwing that in there.
Yeah,
So,
so you need three vocal.
Definitely surprising. 2 years, like.
Oh, for sure.
he won't wait I wouldn't even want to do it to that long, but I would say to what's his name by the way? Who's this? Jason, so Jason, just let him know that we have a date for our what is gonna be our final presentation of this, that we're holding to, who we've gone with. I don't know if he's aware of it or any of that, but we were gonna present, what we found one more time with the goal of getting this project up and running.
So you plan to do.
I would say right after that, we're gonna have, I don't know how it would work ultimately, we'd have to sort of ratify the contract or it's create a contract. Right, because it's just a proposal, but yes, we would get back to him right after that meeting.
Well, I think we would have this, because we already know it's an upcoming topic and the board did promise to readdress after we have presentation on reserves, so we'd already planned to have
Yeah.
gym
not-
and playground on the agenda.
There's no new information on our end.
Correct.
It is on that to.
Well, what I would say is that there may be numbers that come out on the budget proposal that may be contrary to what we actually need. So that's what I'm saying, you guys need to be there to explain why. Okay, well,
Me too, because we're gonna be.
oh, that's a good excuse, yeah, that's a good excuse. Well, Danny and I will be there, so, yeah. I might have to recuse myself.
We know you guys are there supporting us, so. Yeah. So, yeah, let's continue with this.
Yeah.
So this is Plan B, Option 2. It's called Option 2 because the big one's Option 1.
It looks uninspiring by itself, let's be real, and all of the ones that are just. Yeah.
So the big difference here between this and the next, I think you'll see is the canopy is a fabric. It's sort of like a canvas, I guess, material, and the next one is like kind of a plastic little roof.
But it's just the plastic roof.
Yeah, so it has its kind of little center shade area, but again, this is, it's kind of what you're gonna get.
Yeah, and what this gives you, what this costs, okay? And again, I know you, Linda, you have the spreadsheet, but just to do a one-for-one replacement, we're around almost $50,000, depending on the vendor.
Yeah, you just.
Yeah.
So. That's what it's uninspiring, and that's probably why there's been pushback. This is what we're calling Plan B,
I like
which is.
this one. Oh, no.
Oh,
Well,
the
yeah, there's
two, yeah.
different Plan
I think
Bs.
this one's nicer.
Yeah. So I think we have some flexibility if we wanna swap different units in and out, and so on and so forth, but the whole idea is, these are kind of what the one-for-one replacements looks like. Cause if you're going in right there, it's actually very limited space. I've learned a lot about safety landing area, like there's a lot that goes into that. So there's only just a few sets that are actually able to fit in that one space. These are 2 to 12 units, so yeah, these are 2 to 12 units.
Okay, and the big one that was gonna be over there, what's the?
Would be 2 to 12, yeah, I think the way they do that is, it's just the equipment that is there, so features. Mhm. Yeah, you're just not gonna get as many kids on one versus the other.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, we just went from having 7 kids to maybe having 15.
Yeah, that's, yeah, well, it's weird how they make kids. I don't know all the factors, but yeah,
Not wrong.
like, yeah, no, that's gonna be probably, no more than.
Alright, so this was Miracle, Miracle Recreation. Let's go to, we can do Playground 360 next.
Oh,
Alright, which one, A?
Yes, I think they're in there too.
There, yeah, playground bus is in there, there's a folder for 'em.
Okay,
A.
yeah, we'll start with Plan A, so this, again, it's the bigger one.
By the way, swings require a ton of safety area, so that's why you see all this extra area.
yeah.
So anytime you add a balance beam, any of these other units, the cost keeps increasing because you need a lot more mulch, you need a lot more surface area.
Now this would be over there. It looks a lot less equipment.
Well, so you don't see shade, right? So they don't have any little canopies that are included in the unit, there's no shade over the swing set. So, this is a little bit more just functional, for like play than it is for like maintenance and like longevity, right? Shade helps, I think, with just kind of upkeep of the general units, weather, things
Also
like
makes
that.
you use it longer here.
Well,
Right.
yeah, that's why we like the units that have some integrated shade.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'd be able to convince everybody to get a separate shade over the swings initially. I mean, I would love to. That alone is 20 to 30.
Yeah.
Okay, so big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One there, there's no shade, it's really hot, you can't even use the slides.
Yeah, right. So, there's a few angles, I think, to this.
Well, and that's why we want to try to put the play set closer to the tree to pick up some natural shading.
Can we scroll down in this presentation, just to see the,
Oh, all right.
yeah.
I don't think this one had like a bench or, other kinds of amenities outside of the actual playground equipment as well, if I remember right, Brian.
Yeah, I think it's just cut off.
Yeah, and the good thing about the benches and stuff is they're relatively inexpensive.
Yeah,
So you get a couple benches and a trash can for probably $1,500.
Well, it's fun, but what you can see is there's kind of this like, 2 angle towers for climbing. And then there's like, I think it's either a spinner or one of those like wobble things, like a cage, you kind of get in or hang on, and it kind of wobbles back and forth,
It's
so.
not- it's terrible. It's
Yeah,
like a
I was-
lot less.
Yeah.
A lot less.
Yeah, I don't have the numbers on top of my head, but yes, it's less than Miracles. Obviously, because of the size and everything else, but you'll see when we get there. This is where it becomes customizable, like how do we go outside for mulching, right? Do we start small and go big? So we have some room to sort of present the big vision. And then get the actual number and then say, okay, now that we know the number that we can work with. Let's design a playground based off of this information, go with the vendor we think is gonna be best. Brian and I will share a little bit of our insights, having conversations with some of these people via email and on the phone. But let's go to Plan B for Playground 360, please. you're just gonna see two colorways, we'll just do the red and blue, because I think it's for this section here, it's nice and vibrant. This is kind of has like a, like climbing the wall, that's part of the build, so that's kind of cool where, you know, I mean, you can kind of be on the outside climbing up to the top there and then onto it. But the slides are kind of small, it's very compact, the only thing I really like about this is the integrated shade. So toddlers, kids, you know, up to 12 can kind of hang on it a little bit longer. I'm not anticipating that there's just gonna be a crowd for this year round. I think initially, you know, a lot of the parents and kids are gonna come out and test it out, but regularly, maybe like 2, 3 at a time.
Yeah, and I think that's where if we ever did have more shade structures over things, I think that encourages people to hang out there a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But, you know, we'll just see, and not to keep interjecting,
No,
but
please.
I think that from a mental standpoint, we need to, like, if we don't get everything, I think it's unlikely to get future expansions, in my opinion. Just because mentally, it's like, well, we've already accounted for this is the budget for this, and we're not gonna add to the budget. So I think we just should have that in mind. I don't think we can sell it on expansion, I think we sell it on plan A, and it's either or plan A or plan B, and we can either have plan B there, or we can have it there.
And we have no planning.
Yeah, I think the only thing we could have some leniency on is maybe adding shade. I think that could be something that could have some additional thought process. in it.
Right, so like the happy medium is, we go over to plan A area with plan B, but we get a unit that is kind of the baby step towards the big thing and get that shade on there first. You know, there's probably like a.
Well, I'm thinking we should get the components. I think we go
Like the independent components?
yeah, like plan A, like if we're gonna have swings, like if we don't get swings on the ground, like it's probably not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Is my opinion. I think adding shades, I think we get a structure that has integrated shades, but I'm saying additional shades.
That's what I mean, like, if we're looking at like a small unit.
Yeah.
I would like to look at one that has.
Oh, yes,
integrated shades.
yes, absolutely.
And it goes out there versus one that doesn't, because we're trying to cost save, like you were saying, so. Okay, so, yeah, that's plan B for playground 360, and we'll now go on to playground boss. Yes, thank you for finding that.
We don't have a picture.
It's in the proposals.
Okay, doesn't matter which, is it this one?
Yeah. So, scroll down, there it is. Yep. So this is plan A for playground boss. Again, 2 color combinations, and you can see this is actually kind of cool. It's, you know, it has that integrated little umbrella shade there over the little bridge climber and the slide. It has that tube, which my daughter loved. You know, that little kind of hangout spot, you know, with the little
Actually
window.
like the green and the tan.
Yeah.
'Cause
So
I
that's
think-
very Highlands Reserve-y and, yeah, natural, right?
Yes.
So we thought about, we had this conversation with, what's his name,
Of
Andrew?
course, I noticed.
Yeah. Yes, you know.
Always the aesthetics.
Well, what sticks out to me is because I've kind of been, I don't know why, but I've been stuck on having some climbing element
Yeah.
somewhere in the playground. But if you add a separate climbing element, that really increases your surface area space that you have to have on the playground.
You can see the one that's kind of
And it's integrated in there. So
jutting off the side there.
so yeah, it's kind of integrated in there. Yeah, you're not gonna be able to get a 12-year-old to. They're gonna just hop over that real quick.
If you move the playground over there. What are we gonna do with this stuff?
So then it just becomes open brainstorming at that point, who knows? I think, yeah, once we say like. It's better for our community to think about the big vision out there. Can we do that? And they say yes, then we can start talking about what happens there.
You can also
But
somewhere incorporate a dog park.
Yeah, you have a dog park, you could pave that in and make it kind of an extension of the pool with tables. And, you could put additional barbecues over there.
Yeah, those
You
are
can
good.
do all sorts of things.
yeah, but yeah, it's kind of open
Little
to,
playhouse.
yeah, for the dogs.
Oh, no, here's-
Oh.
Dog house.
So, but on units like this, like you got a separate little thing, so like, if you think about the climbing wall, that other, the right quadrant of it. You know, you could have kids that are just playing on that white quadrant, and then on the left side on the shade.
I don't hate it,
Right.
or like a cheaper.
So yeah, that's the thing, so when you go for the units that are on the less expensive side, there's compromises that you have to make, so we're just trying to make the best compromises
Yeah.
that we can on those individual units. And the idea would be, you know, if you just, do you spend all your budget on one big integrated unit, or if you have a larger budget, you add swings, you add some additional things to make the program more interesting, and have, you know, different sections of the program.
Yeah, because the older kids would like to swing more.
For sure.
This is not gonna help the 12-year-old.
No.
No, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's why I was asking about the age.
Yeah. And then I can see two girls just swinging, talking about boys on the swing, you know, like cute stuff like that.
That's why we need you there, you gotta paint the picture with us.
I personally would love to get swing sets that have the 2 bays of full swings and then the little arms that jet out for the little baby swings.
Mhm.
Because they don't, doesn't need.
I would go one that goes back and forth with like 2 benches.
Um,
Oh, I know, you're talking about. I don't know what it's called.
I don't, they're like 2
I don't
benches
think
and they're
they're
on, and they go
They
back.
go back and forth.
The adults like those.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, those are great.
yeah, you can spend all day, you know, looking at all the cool components.
Yeah.
I did that one day. Yeah, just,
Rabbit hole.
yeah, I didn't know where I was after, but yeah, I think we spent enough time on this one.
Yeah, so let's go to B, which is just the next proposal, they put their images in there. Throw one down and you'll see same color combos, just more compact. Again, it has that nice wide shade over the top of the majority of the unit, which that's a nice feature, and it's got those cool little like steps. The blue ones right next to the little stairwell. This also comes with a lot of like interactive features, so I don't know, can we zoom in a little bit on that blue one, there, blue and red?
Hang on, I gotta.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a little step.
So it has like a little puzzle thing in the window there, it has,
blinding light on the light.
Yeah. yeah,
It actually is a lot, yeah.
yeah, and so of the sort of smaller units. Playground bosses seem a little bit more inclusive and fun, just in our opinion.
Yeah.
So, you know, Brian and I can just pretty much stop and say, like, as of right now, the 3 playground boss stands at the top for us. So what I would like to do now is, we'll go to the spreadsheet if we can, Courtney. I'm gonna mention that UNCORKED, said they were gonna get us both proposals yesterday. I haven't even heard from them today, so there was a challenge just even getting somebody over there. Not really promising, you know, as a vendor for that particular reason. We might get it and it might shock us, so I'm still open to receiving this before the meeting, and I will share it with everyone, I'll add it to the spreadsheet. I also spoke with a woman over at a property up in Port St. Lucie. And she gave me an email to another vendor, I haven't had a chance to look at, but they just bought from them and they love it. And they said it was like easily within their budget, I'm like, okay, all of this sounds pretty good. So I'm gonna check it out, so it doesn't hurt to, somebody toss it our way, let's take a look. So none of that is in there, but what we're gonna see now is, I have 2 tabs in the spreadsheet. Linda, by the way, helped tremendously on getting this monster set up, this is a lot of information went into this and a lot of rows and columns, but Linda helped a ton. Thank you, Linda.
All right, where do you want me to start?
So
I'm
we'll
on
start
A
with,
now.
Miracle, I think the first column, if you scroll to the left, Miracle should be the first, yep. And what you're gonna see too, it's hard to sort of separate out all the line items. I didn't really think about this until now, but it's kind of like installation all in, demos in there, so you're gonna see some big numbers. I think, and Brian, you can kind of second this, but like, I don't know if we want to get hands-on and demoing our own stuff and then hiring an outside contractor and getting them as, I think we want the thing to exist. Yeah, so we're looking at this apples to apples in terms of installation is included, demos included, mulch is included, okay?
This isn't a DIY situation, this is a community, this
Yes.
is your own private house. So
Yes,
you
it's
have-
different for like painting your gym, right?
Yeah. This is, and you want it done right if you're spending the money.
So what you can see there is 187,000 and a half, for Miracle's larger unit. That's the plan A that we saw. That was just incredible. It was the mirror of Egret Landing. It's like the dream set, right? So just to kind of give some perspective, that was the number that came back on that whole complete set. Now let's scroll over to Playground 360, I think would be the next.
Actually, never realized how expensive playgrounds really are. It's a shocker.
So if you remember Playground 360s, it was the light blue unit, it had those sort of cross towers and stuff. So all of that said and done came actually only to 74,000, so that's
That's a huge.
less than half
Yeah.
of what Miracles was.
Was that, were they mulching too?
Let's scroll to where it shows, there, yes.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So mulching there, now their mulching numbers was actually pretty reasonable compared to, going outside, I don't know what that was, but maybe, I don't know. Engineer wood fiber, that's their cost and that's the quantities. Timbers are the framing, so when you see timbers in there, that's just kind of the lining of the, area. Okay, yeah, they have 142 cubic yards. Okay, we'll go over to Playground Boss. This is their larger unit, 79.
Sold.
Is that? Yeah,
I have a picture of them actually installing unit.
yeah, so I think Courtney, if we go into Playground Boss's folder again, possible, we have, some photos from other properties, I think I threw in there too.
Oh, okay, you'd like to see it in places, actual life photos.
Yeah,
Yeah, they-
unit examples up
Is
there,
it-
folder, yeah,
Are there any
Yeah.
upkeep costs named differently?
anyway.
Upkeep, upkeep?
No, there's no costs for the upkeep, but they've all kind of said that they have paints that they can provide us that are matching colors of the ones we order. So we can do touch-ups if we want, but they all really say that like wear and tear is minimal on these units, and these are high level commercial units.
How much do they?
So that would be like a 1-for-1 replacement there,
That's
right there.
bigger, yeah, the community looks a little.
Yes, cause like, see
I
the,
think it depends on the property, so
It's not-
it's a lot of families, it's very family oriented type of, like, a community like ours, then it probably increases the tremendously, I would tell you.
not 35 grand.
And it was also the biggest kicker for my family moving in here was seeing playgrounds in people's backyards, seeing that there was a lot of communities. Yes, so it's, I don't know, mine is 7.
7:45.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
got
20 minutes.
6 or 7 minutes. Good cheap.
Okay, so let's, we'll take a look at these, we just showing the same things. Okay, so I want to show on the screen here to Linda and anyone else who watches the recording, we can show us these examples here. This is Playground Boss units at other properties. So you can see that canopy is what it shows. It's really nice, got a wide spread there. Kind of cool, different variations for little climbers to get up onto the platforms. So it's really kind of choose your own set with this company. I also believe getting the units and the installation is gonna be easier with them versus the others. Miracle, I think, is shipping from out of California, correct? So a lot of costs in terms of freight and stuff like that. Playground Boss, yeah, there's.
I think their main is like, it's somewhere a lot closer.
Yeah,
In that aspect.
was that all?
Yeah, I just scrolled through.
They have a couple of.
So let's
but
go
that
back
was-
to the
that was
spreadsheet.
cheap.
But can I see what it would look like again, like what they marked for us on the
Mhm.
option A?
And again, we have some leeway as far as cheating.
So this was option A.
We'll keep scrolling because I think they had some.
So they didn't,
They-
so we don't get the swings for the 79,000.
No, we didn't.
Oh, we do.
Yeah, no, that was swings, that was, little balance, a leaf balance beam, you know, so it's like, yeah, so it's a balance beam, but it's like, instead of just being, yeah, it's gonna have cute leaves on it. And then like a thing that the kids can grab and spin themselves around. Oh,
Yeah, so Courtney, can we go back to the spreadsheet? I wanna look at, so the individual components for playground boss here as well.
Alright, I'll go all the way to the top, from there, no.
I just think when you do the green, the tan color, it just looks so much higher end than the red, and blue. It just looks cheesy, but that looks classy.
Well, if we ever do a basketball court in the future, like, the courts that we did, was like the green and the white. And
Okay, cool. Alright, so the play structure that you saw in the picture, that right there is 30,000. Right, is that 30?
yeah, cause it's a sale price.
Yes, so we're getting this 50% off unit, which is really great too, which Brian, you know, helps find this company in this particular item.
And their service, by the way,
Yes,
they're very good on the service side.
Okay.
so let's scroll down to individual components that they were offering, so freestanding swing, you can see there.
Don't see a swing.
Yes,
It's a different type of seats,
yeah,
for the kids.
okay,
Oh, the baby swing, yeah.
there's kind of like seats and
Yeah.
belts and stuff like that, or just those little line items, we can scroll down. Freestanding, so they have a rocket spinner. Yep, and then they also had balance beam, which I think we have options, but right in line with your natural, they have a leaf balance beam, so it has little leaf shapes, right? And then,
Landscape.
these are the framing, this is site furnishing, so we've got the framing of the timber, looks like a little.
Ramp.
Yeah, okay, yep, and then, you know, this is their sort of like the doing the work, the specs, this is demo of
That's
the.
still them removing, that's one thing, that's still
Yeah.
them removing.
It's removing this unit.
Yeah, I don't think the other companies had that, I think it was just selling.
No, I think they were the main ones that addressed that I recall. They even talked about renting a dumpster to haul the stuff away.
Yeah, so this is, I think this is actually probably one of the most accurate out of all.
So they're pretty on par with the company before, sending out the same price, but we're getting. we're
Right.
covered.
So Courtney, can we scroll to the left on Playground 360, because,
See what the different,
yeah, right here. So, let's scroll up to demo, just see if they include demo, no, see, they didn't include demo, right, and they're at the same price. They're close to it.
that's gonna come in probably another 10 grand each, right, all of that.
They're
Correct,
removing it at least $5,000.
yeah, yeah.
All the extras.
Yeah, so as you can see where we're leaning and why we're leaning that way, so when we, you know, present all our findings here. Playground boss is a no-brainer.
And we get everything's covered,
Yes.
Yeah.
you know,
And-
it looks nice, it's covered, we get the swing.
And I think they're very, from what he told us, I mean, obviously, we are trying not to keep coming back and coming back and coming back when we're not signed off on funding. But once we're signed off on funding, they're gonna work with us, like, we may change the structure a little bit, you know, there might be some changes there, but they're gonna be, once they know that we're serious and we're putting some money down, they're gonna, it's. We'll be able to get everything and probably get a little bit better price too, based on what has been indicating to us.
Yeah.
So I think this price is gonna be even better.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you should tell them, hey, let's go on the board with 3 different people, you have the same exact price, I can show you what's the best you can do. You don't know. You might think it's
They were kind of like years ahead in general, so it's hard to ask. So
Yeah,
much
I
more.
don't
I
know.
know they-
I
they-
hear you, but I don't wanna do that.
Yeah. So, this is, again, plan A, right? I don't think there are any other numbers on here except for the advanced mulch, item in the do it yourself section, so we don't have to look at that. But let's go to plan B, and we'll just do the same thing, we'll start with Miracle right here. So Miracle had 2 options, I believe it was for us. So you can see there's option 1 is a little more expensive, that was the canvas
That shade, okay.
And then the other one's just kind of the plastic shade. And so you'll see the totals there, that's with install and demo.
So 55 or 42.
Correct.
That's just for the small singular unit.
It's like getting the small soda and it's a little bit more for the large soda.
Yes.
That's a good one.
Alright, so we'll scooch over to Playground 360. So you'll see they only had one option for us. It's that small one you saw, which 45. Yeah, and we'll go over to which is also around 40, is that 3 or 8?
That's a, I don't think. Okay, one of the things I got from Playground Boss was, oh, you know what, that one probably had rubber mulch. I bet you that's what it is.
Oh, let's scroll up, because I would have put it in there too. So furnishings,
Demo, dumpster, timbers, mulching.
nope,
Oh, Playground Boss has 2 installation costs.
oh, it does?
Yeah. I think we got it covered. Yeah, it's right.
This one?
Yeah,
You know, these two break
Ah,
the window
thank you.
seats, right?
so we can subtract that off, because they were the only ones that were under 40.
Good, thank you for finding that. Yeah, so. Again,
So 35, 36.
again, they're way under what I think was. The initial budget was, well, we had 50,
50, yeah.
so 50,000 was what was proposed through the reserve study. So,
But Plan A from Playground Boss, I think that we probably land at like 75, 76. But that's with demoing the new unit, which gives us the ability to do something different with that. Plus, an awesome playground.
It's a totally different experience.
Yeah.
You're there.
Yeah. And I think that sets a really nice stage for, the record for that.
yeah, so. What I'll do is I'll kind of take this information, I'll break it down a little more simply into like a presentation for that, and we'll share this with the board prior to the meeting. So that's really the next step for this, is to just consolidate this information, place our recommendation, and that could include
Well,
this.
I leave the 21st, so if you like have an emergency room meeting for them.
Okay.
Just let me know.
Yeah, so I think it's on Tuesday, it's the 24th, yes. So I would like to get it to them before or by that Friday, the 20th. So if we need to hop on like our own Zoom call, we don't have to meet here, we can try and schedule something real quick. And whoever can join can, just to kind of hash out any last minute details. But I think what I would like to do is have that presentation, share it with you guys. And then any tweaks we need to make, I can make those, and then we'll release it, and that will be that, and we'll present.
These are wind, they can fall.
So the integrated shades are, at least I know with Playground Boss, is up to about 90 miles per hour.
That's a good selling feature, that's the one.
Yeah.
Because you do want something that needs to flow when you're condition, or in a hurricane, in a problem.
Right. Now,
That's a big seller.
and you can remove them if there was a bigger storm coming.
Okay,
If you can just ratchet it off and take it down and stuff like that again, so.
that's good.
And you can get replacement shades. if
Yeah.
you
But
do that.
you want something that's gonna hold up in far weather.
Correct. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. So as you can see, that's where we've landed, and why Playground Boss seems to be the best fit for our community right now. Okay, great, Brittany, thank you. Linda, do you have any questions? I mean, you've seen this thing back and forth, so.
No, I think, obviously, it's good for all of us to be down in the weeds on all those various pieces, but when you want to roll it up and present, I think, just to kind of show the compelling difference about, some of the aspects you were talking about in terms of the ease of working with certain vendors, or, the mulch included or not. I think that's gonna be some key discussion points, and then just say, kind of simplified on the numbers would be more manageable.
And I think, from the affected. We just need to make sure that our guys can move that much mulch. Apparently, it's like 22 tons, like if we're doing the, you know, the big unit with the swings and the other, and it's like 22 tons.
Dance mulch can do it.
Yeah,
They're
okay,
well equipped for that.
good.
I didn't see the difference, but that's fine, on advanced mulch versus going with playground balls for that.
Yeah.
But I believe there's about a $3,000 savings.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but I can confirm all of that when we present. Okay, so you guys gonna move on? And Courtney, yeah. Thank you, that was really the big one.
Yeah,
Yes. You got it.
thank you.
All right, so, on to 2024 social events. Okay, so I wanted to just kind of take a moment and assess like the events that have already gone on, right? So starting with the pool party in June that we did, you know, which in my opinion was a big success. I thought it was a lot of fun, great turnout. You know, we had to work out some details in real time with like barbecuing, where it was gonna be, having enough canopies.
We had a lot of rain, let's not forget that, we still have.
Yeah.
Right.
I think without that level of rain, it would have been even busier.
Yeah, I'm looking at that party as being like set as a blueprint for doing it again next year. You know, I mean, I would do it maybe earlier, I think that's the suggestions to do it a little bit earlier. But still, the way we did it, you know, I thought was fantastic. Having the inflatable thing was used constantly, you know, I would love to invest in another slip and slide, because that's used a lot too. We had all these cool little features, I think everything got used, even the Jenga set we played with, so. I'm gonna bring that up on the planning session for 2025, that's June, right? So then we have the July, it's the patriotic potluck pool party. And I think, although great attention to utilize leftover food to create another opportunity for another hot summer to be in our pool, all of that was good. And I love the ideas. I think what ended up not working, this is just my sort of summation, is two big pool parties like that back to back. It's a little cumbersome, right? You're not gonna get as many volunteers, which we didn't. You know, it doesn't feel as enticing because we just did one, you know? So it kind of seems like the, you know, the stepchild of the pool party.
Next year you can do like a pre-4th of July.
I would love, and I saw this in, what is it, the properly, is they floated out a platform boat in the middle of their big lake, and they shot off fireworks. Yeah, and I'm sure there's somebody in this community who can just put together a little float and but I was just thinking that would be really cool to utilize our lake that we have here. But yes, something a little bit more 4th of July themed maybe, and even simpler if we're gonna do this big bash beforehand in early summer. So, but I think there were some high points and not so high points for that particular party. So I'm just taking that in as inventory of like, okay, what really did work? What could we do else? So I think that will come into play for the 2025 session. And then following that, what came afterwards? Was it the dive-in movie night, right?
Dive-in movie, wasn't it? Yeah.
So I thought that was a big success. I was there for that. It was me, Courtney, and Grady Stevens work out the positioning of where it was gonna go the night before. And where we landed, if you guys saw, was the projector screen was on that right side. And it worked. It all worked. There are some things we can improve upon. I made notes of just kind of like, it was very buggy, you know? A lot of people came prepared, they wore spray and stuff, but if you were in the pool, no bugs. So that if anything is a motivator to get in the pool, adults and kids. Kids love it. I would love to do one on the other side of the year where it gets darker. I think that is gonna be a more popular version of this, and we should test that out. My daughter, who, you know, she's always wants to get her bedtime, you know, she kind of pumped out, like right at the end of it, you know, which is fine, and it was that kind of setup. So, but, you know, you had things floating around, we just had a good time, it was really, I thought it was a big success, so I definitely want to repeat it. I think once people saw the photos and they realized this thing actually happened, it entices people to want to be part of it. Yes.
And Danny's floats were.
The lobsters,
Yeah.
huge hit.
I still need a lobster.
We have them, so they're donated, they're in the closet here, if anybody wants to come and borrow a lobster float, they can do it, and I have yours by the way, I totally forgot to bring yours. So, yes, I think that was a really cool event, love to do it again, I've even talked to people outside this neighborhood, it's like, man, I wish we could do that, so, I mean, that in itself, we're gonna look at it.
I think that's the key thing. Just the light, you know, because that's the biggest enemy of a projector.
Yes.
You know, so if you can do it when it's earlier,
Yeah.
where you get started earlier, still early in the day.
We planned it, I think it was like 8:15 was the target time, but even then, we had to go to like 8:30 was when you start to really see things.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay, and now we're looking at our next event, which is the Uncorked wine tasting, which is gonna be an exciting one, that's the adults only. I didn't get a chance to ask Courtney, but I'll ask her, I'm just curious to know like how many actual people are signed up for this, because what you see on Facebook is like, we're going, but it's like one person. So you just don't know if it's a couple or if it's a person, so we don't have a final count right now, but I think it's so far so good, I think a lot of people have really been interested and signed up. Yeah, so, one of the things I wanted to just chat about was just the, little last minute things that might be needed. Sarah said she was going to get us some like charcuterie stuff. Courtney's gonna buy some snacks as well for this particular event, just very low key things. Sarah mentioned maybe purchasing plastic tasting cups instead of having people bring their own, just that might be more sanitary. Also, you're not kind of mixing wine flavors, you know, they're very cheap and it would just make it a little bit more like fresh, right? But the only thing is we have a call with the vendor, I think it's next Friday, to talk about her setup and how they're gonna sort of like organize this thing. So we wanna get the whole picture from them, which we will, and then I think we'll know better by that call what we need. If they're bringing things, we should get some stuff, we kind of had that brainstorming session, so. Other than that, I think we're pretty much on par with this coming event. So then, after this, we want to start looking at October through December, so. I think our budget is quite limited. So, in my opinion, we skip October, we skip November, we give a break on just these things. We utilize the planning. So, yes, and so anything that is one for one cost wise, right? So this particular event is a paid event, so we could do a paid event if we wanted to, or we could do like a potluck party. We could do a sporting event, there are things we could do. And it's all up for grabs, really, like if there was some sporting things happening in like November, like football, like around Thanksgiving. We could host it, we could have it on a projector screen, we could do whatever we want, really. So that's I think where we can get creative and think a little bit about what would we host in between now and December. That would be basically free.
I one, sorry, I should ask this a little bit before, but what was the feedback as far as like having the lifeguards there? People appreciate that. Obviously, I know we have to keep asking about buildings, but I just wondering if anybody had feedback with the fact that we actually have a lifeguard.
I think huge for the June pool party. A lot of people were glad to see 2 lifeguards, not just 1 or 2. I think if anything, it gives parents peace of mind.
Yep.
So worth the cost.
Yes.
And we should absolutely budget for lifeguards for the pool party.
I think that's just good, you know, for those budget things, because it's like, hey, we are a big community, it helps reduce, you know, liability, it's just a perception that like, hey, this is a profession. I know some of my family that came and visited were blown away by like how organized it was and how nice it is.
Yeah, it was a cool one. And those particular lifeguards that we had, also stuff around the cleanup.
Yeah.
So we're just getting extra help from them, which was really cool of them. So they just, they were there dive movie night. They helped kind of break things down, put things away. And they were great in that sense too. And we could be smart about it as well. We kind of held off on meeting them until the movie portion, because at that point, you're not really paying attention in the pool other than the screen. That's when they become a little bit more safety precaution oriented.
Do you think the kids would like some kind of Halloween costume?
So I was thinking about Halloween. I love Halloween. The thing I know about though is that the trick or treat, which kind of counts as its own event.
I think the
Yeah.
community, in my opinion, I think the community is already like invested in Halloween.
Oh my God, Lost Lane is crazy.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
It's this, and it's, I get people up in Berkeley who live here. You guys come just to walk around Lost Lane and see it for yourself. Oh, it's unbelievable. As you go down the end of Lost Lane, it's like Disney World on steroids. It's phenomenal. Whoever, or every house, it's just in the lighting, the graveyards, that it's spectacular. I've never seen anything like it.
I mean, it's my favorite holiday of the year.
It was up here, I thought the neighborhood I came from was in Halloween as well, and they decorate, I think, so this, the Highlands has.
I think we'd be competing against that, if we tried to.
Yeah.
do something.
Okay.
Yeah, and,
Okay.
well, if we had a bigger budget, I think totally, but.
It's, so the other thought I had on this,
Yeah.
and I had mentioned actually last night, because one of the topics that I wanted to discuss with the landscaping committee was our end of the year party as a landscaping committee. And talking about it, I realized we should just have a committee party, like all committee members from all committees, we should all get together. And I thought about the same thing for like, we could do that anytime we want. We're the ones that really volunteer, we're in the trenches of these things. We should kind of get together, hang out besides the work. Because we do a lot of work and we should play too.
It's how you get people on the committees too.
Exactly, and that was the other thing, it's like,
Oh, absolutely.
whoa, these committees have fun, you know, like they're like doing things outside of the work. And so I want to be there for that, I want to be invited to the Halloween party, the committee Halloween party, so we can have our own, maybe like one like weeknight or something. We come to the clubhouse in costume, we punch, we bring our own, it's like our own potluck, and we just have a good time.
We do that at City Hall, all our committees, they always have a party for every committee every year for the volunteers, and it's very popular.
Yeah.
And, if it's a little obligated, so.
We do Christmas too, even though.
Yeah, so we're gonna get there, because I think the holiday sort of thing is a big one for our community as well, right? So October is pretty much set. If we want to, we can have a conversation now about just the committees getting together for a little Halloween party in the clubhouse. You know, of course, me and George join us and just have a good time. And then go into November, you know, I kind of just threw out possibly doing a turkey run, but I think we should hold on that for next year. It's gonna be,
Area's gone.
yeah, it's gonna require a lot more organization, teamwork, designing sort of all that stuff. I don't think we need to get into that. Plus with Thanksgiving, you've got families leaving and coming, and there's so much going on. So I would leave November as a 5 month of just letting it be what it is, and we really focus our energy on maybe tailoring this final end of year Christmas party a little bit more, kind of looking at what we've done in the past and seeing if we can refine it a bit. I can tell you what I really enjoyed in the past, and I think this happened 2 or 3 years ago, and my wife Jillian was on this committee when this was all going down, and there was cookie stops for the tour. I loved it, because you didn't just kind of speak through the neighborhood looking at lights, you purposefully stopped at somebody who volunteered to have a table outside and offer cookies and milk and whatever it was. And did you see it? Were you part of it?
I just moved here.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you didn't even get to partake. Yeah, you didn't either. Did you get to partake in the cookie stop?
I think the one here, they had a party, they kind of.
Yes. Here we had a little party with Santa.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So with all of that comes just kind of, you know, identifying people who want to be part of that and putting it out early enough, right? It's just the planning has to happen in advance. If we're gonna ask people at certain areas.
They drive through the golf carts in my area too, and the state side.
Yeah.
Oh, they do?
So I created the maps
Okay.
for the tour, and we organized it to go from one end to the other, and then you would finish around. What was great, Fox, at the end there, Ryan was moved. Unfortunately, he did such an awesome job with this little laser light show that he created and designed, and like the last one he did, it was Olaf dancing and singing to favorite Christmas hits, and his house had like the LED lights timed to the music. I mean, it was the biggest hit, and you would stop and you would watch, and he would do timed events. So as the sort of groups would go, he would do another show. It was awesome. So we're gonna miss that for sure. But the cookie stops was a really cool feature, and I think we should reintegrate that. We also tried out. So we also tried out last year. We did a movie night. So we did The Grinch. Which was the newer animated one, out there on tennis courts. They had catered food and things like that. I think it did a little bit, yeah. But
You didn't get the turn, I should have put some of that.
so there was the eating, so there was the dinner, right? And then there was the movie, and then there was the tour. And it's just too much in one, and there wasn't really even enough people to really work. So my thought is that I think what we can do at Christmas, it's free to do a movie. So we should do a Christmas movie night, and we should try and just look for one evening, and yeah, like just have it be kind of.
How do you get one of the adults? You have a bake off, Christmas bake off, and then get more people.
Well, the tour is where the adults come. So yeah, I would do two separate things. So I would do the Christmas lights tour, which is really the big event. The movie night is just like any other movie, except it's gonna be themed around a Christmas movie, right? Maybe Die Hard would be the adults.
No, bad cinema.
We could watch it in here, honestly.
Right,
If you got like, I don't know. Yeah, we could go off the rails, but yeah, that, you just bring in a couple nice speakers in here, we could have a pretty good time.
So what I would.
Probably a nice dinner, so.
So for sake of time, we don't have to get into the details, but I think that's gonna be the next meeting, is we focus on, not the 2025 one, but the one in October for us. Is the Christmas party, and we try and plan out the details. Okay, so, food truck nights, Danielle, you're up.
So I want to have a regular monthly food truck. I was thinking Thursdays, they don't want to touch weekends, also to get the food trucks, they're normally less busy during the week. I was set up in front of the community house, we were talking about this area, right, like around the circle. My initial idea was to visit Alcoa, but I didn't get a chance to, so what I did is I went on their Instagram page and I saw all the trucks that were pretty much on that page, started writing them. So far, I have 3 trucks that wrote me that are very interested. One is called a Cutlet Above, which is an Italian chicken sandwich truck that does like chicken parm, marsala, parm, like just cool sandwiches, all to chicken color, which is a breaded chicken.
Nice.
And then I got another one called Shrimp King, which is obviously shrimp bowls and salad. And another one called Oh My God, which is smashed burgers, kebabs, sandwiches, and fries. So those 3 are definitely interested right now. But I only think we should start with 2, and then, like we were saying, and then with a dessert or a snack truck.
Okay.
Because this is a test run, we wanna see how it goes, and we don't wanna scare away the trucks if we have too many and no people come.
We can also, and I thought about this too, is that we can also tell them we want to expand upon this. This is a test run. I mean, if you're willing to work with us, it may not hit numbers, but we're gonna push to get you as many people as we can.
I need to push in the community how this is the first event we're gonna do, we're planning on making it monthly, and we
Yeah.
have to support it,
Yeah.
so we can keep going. And then we can also put out like a survey or something on social media or an email that asks people what kind of trucks they like, or if there are certain trucks in the area they know of, and they can give us the information. So we have
Right.
one.
All you need is a good band to say, hey. Give your your husband and your wife and the night off from cooking,
Yeah,
come to the food truck.
Right.
And bring the family out.
and it's cost us nothing, but again, it's nothing just to bring everyone together. They can come, they can hang out, they can take out their beach chairs, sit outside, or
So we have speakers, right? And we can set up music. We should make it like a little kind of clubhouse circle event or whatever,
like
you
we
know?
can holiday. If we do it in the month of December, we can. Christmas events or something, for October, we can do fall.
Yeah.
For November, fall, so, but we can theme it, not in the food style, but in just what's going on, set them up, if, like, we wanna do that.
Yep.
I think, that's awesome. With Patrick owning the Carvel, so Carvel's been on his twice now.
Yes, I know. him, so,
Okay, good. So,
I
yeah.
know him myself.
Oh, yeah, of course. So with that being said, like the first question that all the food truck people ask is, what other trucks are you gonna
Exactly,
be?
they've asked me that. So I told them it's only gonna be a couple, I'm gonna try to not have a lot of the same food,
Right,
so it's variety, so they're not competing. with
yeah,
each
and
other.
you usually have at least one food in the dessert. I mean, that's, you know.
Whichever way.
And honestly, if we advertise enough and we can put out like, hey, what ones do you like, and if, you know, we can say, hey, where's the interest in these trucks? You know, to see if we can support 2 food trucks at the same time.
Yeah, Jackie Josh just put out like choosing a date for the next garage sale, and you voted on the Facebook page.
Right.
Which we could do, so we just list the 3 trucks that you mentioned. What's the most popular, so we know we'll get more traction with one versus the others, and that's the winner, right? So that's when we start with, and then yes, yeah, and we can expand, so, okay.
They might be so busy, imagine that,
Yeah.
there's a lot, we can't even meet everyone.
That would be awesome.
About that.
And if we get a lot of votes, then I think that'll tell us, okay, we should have the top 2. The top 2, then the top. Yeah, we get 15 votes, and
I mean, there's hundreds of them, I just don't know the shops, we
Right.
just need to
oh,
learn.
there's so, yeah,
There's so many, it's every time,
Yeah.
and they like
Yeah.
to, if they do well, and it's something for them to do during the week that's not, you can't do it on the day of, let's say, truck nights, the big ones, you can't like do it on the weekends, because they cater, they do private catering events, so I figured like, we stick to like a Wednesday or a
Well,
Thursday.
yep. And I think
not
that's,
Wednesday, Wednesday's usually.
I think Linda, were you gonna say something?
I love the food truck idea, and I think you're right on about just timing it right. I think is going to be critical, but I think it's worthwhile to roll it out and see where we go.
yeah, and I think monthly is good, and obviously Copperly has a monthly. Danielle, it sounds like you might be volunteering to create the food truck schedule, okay.
So, I didn't get to preface this particular topic, but Danielle and I have been talking, and I'm using her as a test pilot for having lead members in our committee take on particular projects and events. So when we do our 2025 planning session, what we're gonna end up seeing is like the whole calendar laid out, so every month has an event, we can sprinkle in the bonus ones, like a movie night here. Food truck night, whatever it is, and we've got the calendar booked out now, we know what to expect. So, okay, Danielle, this is your area of expertise, you get to sort of send out that email blast to all of us and say, all right, it's time to start, announcing this event. We have our roles in this, so like, I'll put the flyer out there.
And flyer, I have candles.
Yeah, so we can all sort of like work together, but we'll have somebody who initially starts the conversation about that event at like a month prior or whatever we need in order to plan for it, right? And then it would just kind of continue on like that. I mean, the big events like Christmas, the summer pool party, that's gonna be a collective. But some of these other things like the turkey run, I kind of reached out to Joanna and asked her if she wanted to take this on. We were kind of sitting here. So she may or may not, but we could kind of piecemeal this out as a group, which I think is gonna be really helpful.
Be awesome.
Yeah.
I still like the idea of the Highlands Olympics. I think kids, I feel like kids would be one for that, and the parents.
My daughter did it, and for my older daughter did it for my younger daughter. And I was at our house, it was a birthday party, but she actually did the Olympics. She had medals, she had podiums. It was, kids are still talking about it, but they love it.
As long as they're night, awesome.
Oh,
Yeah.
kids absolutely love it. They had the teams, the countries, they did it all. I mean, it was fabulous.
So what's the next step of food trucks?
Figuring out if they want to
Thank
learn
you.
on.
Thank
And
you.
then maybe go online.
Yeah. I think that the other element just from like, we did before was just seeing if they have a reserve, like if they're gonna charge us to come out. Okay,
I do this, I work as a marketing director for buildings and on it.
Okay.
And I have to talk about the month, and I see some like,
Okay.
Great, okay, so that's what we'll do, the little voting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Hey guys, sorry I gotta sign off, but thank you very much. I'm coming to the wine tasting and I'm also going to the Saturday planning, so.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye, guys.
Let's wrap it up in 5 minutes.
Yep, absolutely. So 2025 planning session, we can skip that. So new items, basically, this is just kind of the creative section of the meeting, you know. I don't have a number for the 2025 budget, hoping to get that at this. I don't know if it's gonna come up in this next meeting, but it's definitely the budget meeting is coming up in October, I think. So hopefully we'll have that by then, but let's just plan out the year anyways and be proactive. Sporting events, this came up at the drive-in movie night by a neighbor. He just thought it'd be cool to like, you know, host a football game or something like that on the screen, or even here. Same with poker nights. These are all the little things, you know, and I think what's gonna happen is these are gonna kind of build themselves over time as we start to kind of get momentum with everything. But people can,
what about like, the teenagers, like a teen night or something?
that might be a little more challenging, because
No, like, it's a good.
Good chaperone.
That teen, they don't.
I know.
So-
That would be cool. I thought that there was a gay who made a post about like one of the kids, and like that is something that I think that.
Well, what if we did, like, if we had someone come here to like teach chess? You know, for the kids, they have to pay, obviously, the parents would pay, and then like, they teach that, and chess is like the greatest game for a kid to know how to play.
yeah, one thing I learned in working in each products industry is that the more generic or vague the concept or product or design, the wider the audience you get, right? When you start to get very specific on certain things, your audience gets narrowed down. So in these, I think, as we start to do more and more things, it'll be easier to get more specific, because you're gonna start to see the action, you're gonna start to see the socialization.
Well, people have to see it, right now they don't expect it, so they're not.
Right, if you build it, they will.
Same thing, I'm running the building right now, we just started social media events in January. I'm still trying to get, I'm giving out free food, why are you not here?
Yeah,
It just, I'm not getting done, but
so,
keep going.
yeah, so if we do like, in a sporting event, just one, right? If we do a poker night, just one, and then people might want to start forming clubs. I think there were attempts to form boat clubs, but they never happened. I think the problem with some of the forming of clubs is we don't have a lifestyle director, right? We have a committee, but we don't have somebody to help sort of orchestrate and plan for these like little subunits. So, maybe that's somewhere down the road in our future, you know, but as of right now, it's not. I think the idea of clubs is just that, look, there's a lot happening in our community. People are out and doing things, and you get to know your neighbors. So then you want to get to know them more, like, hey, this guy is into Pokemon, you know, whatever it is. So it's like, that's where that stuff might end up happening. With recreational, we talked about our community vision, that's gonna come into play at the board meeting. Group fitness class, we touched on that, tennis, pickleball courts, you know, I think it's worth bringing that to the attention of the board when we talk about this area. Resurfacing,
Yeah,
getting nets that can be mobile and to create pickleball, non-pickleball. Basketball court, it's a no-brainer, you know, we're just gonna position it, it's like, it needs to happen at some point. If it happens now or next year, fine, but we should, it needs to be on the radar.
I mean, I just can't, I just get excited about having a playground over there and then having a court. And then the next thing you do is eventually build a pavilion, and then now you have another shaded area where people.
And then we can give it a name, it could be like, well, I don't know, just off my head, we can give it like a cool name, we can brand it, like it's already has its own name.
Yeah,
I just think that, yeah, if you do things, I mean, because think about all the new communities that are coming up, they're creating these community farms, they're doing things that are trying to like pull the community together. And we could benefit by having something like that. Obviously, we're not gonna do a farm.
Right.
Maybe we could get into aquaponics, you know, we got the old lake, right? You know, it's like, I'm just kidding. But, you know, that I think is our best opportunity, that's where our land is positioned. So I really hope that people can get behind that.
Yeah. And then I just wrote down Highlands Olympics, because I think that would be so cool. So,
I feel like that would be a good.
yeah. So we can wrap this up unless you guys have any other thoughts. Appreciate you both coming out here. And I haven't figured out yet, this is recorded and Zoom has an AI feature that will help summarize, which would be neat too.
I need a lot of myself.
Yeah, escape it.
We'll go ahead and shut it down. Continue with our night. And